First thing is, on the positive x-axis, that's the initial side of the angle. That's where we always start. When you go up, those are positive angles. When you go down, those are negative angles. So up are positive, down is negative. Where you stop is called the terminal side. So the angle starts here and it ends here. So if it starts here and I go all the way into quadrant 2, that's 120 degrees. If I go down 240 degrees, that's a negative 240 degree angle. Those are called coterminal angles, and we'll talk about those a bit more in a second. If the angle is 0, 90, 180, 270, or back at 360, those are called quadrantal angles if they're on the x and y axis. This particular angle is in quadrant 2. So if we go down here, this angle is in quadrant 1, quadrant 2, this one ends in quadrant 3, this one ends in quadrant 4. The other thing we need to talk about is how far away it's from the x-axis. That's called the reference angle. In quadrant 1, whatever the angle is, that's how far it is away from the x-axis. So if this is 60 degrees, it's 60 degrees from the x-axis. If I'm in quadrant 2, how far away is it from the x-axis? So if this is 120 degrees, 180 minus 120 is 60 degrees. So this reference angle is 60 degrees. If I go all the way around to the third quadrant, so 240 degrees, how far away is that from the x-axis? So 240 minus 180 is 60 degrees. That's a 60 degree reference angle. Here, if I go all the way around to quadrant 4, if I go 315 degrees, how far away is that from the x-axis? That is a 45 degree reference angle. So 360 minus 315 is 45 degrees. So now I'm going to go to this right here. And so let me show you. If this is a 53 degree angle, it's a 53 degree reference angle. If you've got 68 degrees, it's a 68 degree reference angle. That's how far away it is from the x-axis. But if I go over here to, let's say, 147, that's 33 degrees away. 180 minus 147 is 33 degrees. This one would be 233 degrees in the third quadrant. 233 minus 180, that's 180, is 53 degrees. 206 from 180 is 26 degrees. 206 minus 180 is 26 degrees. Here, 324, if I go all the way around to 324, 360 minus 324 is 36 degrees. So let's look right here. I want to be 45 degrees away. If I am 45 degrees away, that's 135 degrees. So I need you all to remember that. 45 degree reference angle, 135. I'm going to write 135 down. If I go down, there are negative angles. This is negative 39, but it's 39 degrees away from the x-axis. Negative 71, 71 degrees away from the x-axis. Negative 161, 19 degrees away from the x-axis. 180, take away 161 is 19 degrees. Looky here, I'm going to go to 45 degree reference angle, and that is negative 225. That was the same as 135. 135 and 220, negative 225 are coterminal angles, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. If I go all the way around again to a 45 degree reference angle, that is negative 585. That's the same as 135. It's the same as negative 225. So there's 135 right there. Let me go all the way around. So that plus 360 puts me at 495. So 135 and all the way around again plus 360 is 495. That's a 45 degree reference angle. Go all the way around again. That puts me at 855. That's a 45 degree reference angle. So watch. if these are all they're all coterminal angles. They all end right here in the second quadrant, and they have a 45-degree reference angle. So if I was to take the sine of each of those, like the sine of 135, the sine of 495, the sine of 855, what do you notice? The sine of negative 225, the sine of negative 585. It's the same number. I could do the same thing with cosine. The cosine of 135, the cosine of 855, the cosine of negative 225. It's all the same number. So coterminal angles have the same sine, cosine, and tangent values. So that is the first thing. So let's go back here. All right, so look at this. Here's what happens. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about if it's 30 degrees, it goes over square root of 3 over 2 and up 1/2. So the coordinate was square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. The sine of 30 degrees is the y value, 1/2. The cosine of 30 degrees is the x value, square root of 3 over 2. The tangent of 30 degrees is y divided by x, 1/2 divided by the square root of 3 over 2. But here's the more important part. If it is a 30-degree reference angle, it will have a coordinate of the square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. So as long as it's 30 degrees away from the x-axis, it's going to have this coordinate. The difference is it'll be the different signs. Over here, you're going to have a negative, positive. In this quadrant, negative, negative. In this quadrant, a positive, negative. So look, if we go and look here, look, 150 degrees. It is 30 degrees away from the x-axis. It has the same reference angle. But look, negative square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. If I go down 30 degrees from the x-axis, that's 210 degrees. What is the coordinate? Negative square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. So they have the same exact coordinate because they're both 30 degrees away. The only difference is the sign. And then over here, 330 degrees all the way around has a 30-degree reference angle, and the coordinate is the same exact thing, square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2 and negative 1/2. The difference is a positive and negative. So they have the same coordinate as, let me zoom in, sorry. They all have the same coordinate as this, square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2, because they all have the same reference angle. So if we look down here, this is what we're going to do. So we're right here. So come down here on your paper on the second page, and everybody should be right here. So we're going to look at 45 degrees. So let's go ahead and draw 45 here. That's 45, and that has a 45-degree reference angle. If you come over here, that's going to be 135, and that's going to have a 45-degree reference angle. If you come down here, that's going to be 225. That's also going to have a 45-degree reference angle. And right here is 315, and that's also going to have a 45-degree reference angle. So what we learned yesterday was 45 degrees. That coordinate in the middle was the square root of 2 over 2, the square root of 2 over 2. So this one will also have square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. What's the difference? The signs in the second quadrant are negative and positive. This will also have square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. What's the difference? They're both negative. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. What's the difference? This one's positive, this one's negative. So if you want to come up here real quick, and let's just review. In quadrant 1, they're both positive. In quadrant 2, it's negative, positive. In quadrant 3, negative, negative. And in quadrant 4, the x value is positive and the y value is negative. So that's the only difference between the coordinates is the signs. Then we have 60 degrees. So this will be 60 degrees and it has a 60-degree reference angle. This one would be 120 and that has a 60-degree reference angle. If I go down 60 degrees, that's going to put me at 240. And again, 60-degree reference angle. And 60 degrees over here will be 300. And again, a 60-degree reference angle. So they all have the same reference angle. And what was the coordinate for 60 degrees? 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. So what's this one? Negative 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. What's this one? Negative 1/2 negative square root of 3 over 2. And what's this one? Positive 1/2 and negative square root of 3 over 2. Same exact coordinate, different signs. All right, so let's look right here. So look, 30 degrees up, 30 degrees down. They all have the same coordinate, square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. 45 degrees up, 45 degrees down. They all have the same coordinate, square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. Difference is the sign. 60 degrees up, 60 degrees up. 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. 60 degrees down, 60 degrees down. 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. The only difference is the sign. So if you know these coordinates, you know all the rest of them. So what was the sign of, so remember, sine is the y value, cosine is the x value, tangent is y over x. So if I want the sine of 30, it's going to be 1/2. If I want the sine of 150, it'll be the y value, 1/2. If I want the sine of 120, square root of 3 over 2. Square root of 3 over 2 is approximately 0.9. And if I put the sine of 120, that rounds to 0.9. And that's what the square root of 3 divided by 2 is, same exact thing. But we can know the exact answer. The cosine of 60 is the x value, 1/2. So what's the cosine of 225? Negative square root of 2 over 2. What's the cosine of 300? 1/2. What's the cosine of 315? Square root of 2 over 2. So we can check that. The cosine of 315 is the square root of 2 divided by 2. And if I actually do the cosine of 315, it's the same exact number. So if you know the coordinates, then you know the sine, cosine, and tangent of all of our special right triangles, 30, 60, and 45 degrees. And then you still know your 90, 180, 270, and 360. So if you know this, you know them all. Again, 30-degree reference angle, 30 degrees up, 30 degrees down. Square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. 45 degrees up, 45 degrees down, the green ones. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. 60 degrees up, 60 degrees down, the orange ones. 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. So there's that. So now turn to your next page. Right here. And we are going to review this. So first, in the lines, put the degrees. So this is, we'll start with 0 and 360. So this is 0 and 360. 0 and 360. All right. This is 30 degrees. I'm going to put them in different colors for a reason. That's 30 degrees. And then we have 45 degrees. And then we have 60 degrees. And then we have 90. And then we have 120. And then we have 45. I'm sorry, 135. And then we have 150. So what I was trying to show you is 30 degrees up is the red, 45 degrees up is the blue, 60 degrees up is the purple. So now if I go 30 degrees down, well, this is 180. If I go 30 degrees down, that's going to be 210. If I go 30 degrees down here, that's going to be 330. 45 degrees down puts me at 225. 45 degrees down here puts me at 315. 60 degrees down puts me at 240. 60 degrees down puts me at 300. So now let's do our coordinates. All of the 30 degrees, so let's do this right here. Let's do this one like we did the other day in our homework. This one is going to be 1, 0. This is going to be 0, 1. 1, 0, 0, 1. Then what? They all have a square root of what? I mean a denominator of 2. Denominator of 2, denominator of 2, denominator of 2. And then what did we say? We did 0, 1, square root of 1, which is 1, square root of 2, square root of 3. So 0, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9, and then 1. Don't forget that the square root of 2 over 2 is approximately 0.7. And the square root of 3 over 2 is approximately 0.9. So you've got 0, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9, and then 1. And now go backwards. 0, square root of 1 is 1, square root of 2, and then square root of 3. So I'm going to do all of my 30 degrees reference angles. So 30 degrees up here, that puts this one at, I'm going to put it out here, negative square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. 30 degrees down, negative square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. 30 degrees down, positive square root of 3 over 2, and negative 1/2. They all have a 30-degree reference angle. Now let's do our 45 degrees. 45 degrees has square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. So 45 degrees in this one, for the 45-degree reference angle, that's going to be negative square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. 45 degrees down, negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. 45 degrees down, positive square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. 60 degrees, 1/2, square root of 3 over 2. So 60-degree reference angle, 60-degree reference angle. This is going to be negative 1/2 and the square root of 3 over 2. 60 degrees down, negative 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2. 60 degrees down, positive 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2. Square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. 1/2, square root of 3 over 2. So now you know them all. And then again, this one is going to be negative 1 and 0. And this one's going to be 0 and negative 1. Now, let's do Our radians. So don't forget about the radians. What we learned real quick as a reminder, that if we go by 45s, it cuts it into fourths. This is pi, this is 0. It cuts it into fourths. So every 45 degrees is going to be pi over 4. 2 pi over 4, which reduces to pi over 2. 3 pi over 4. 4 pi over 4. This one's 5 pi over 4. And then 6 pi over 4 reduces to 3/2 pi. 7 pi over 4, and then 8 pi over 4 reduced to 2 pi. That was your 45 degrees. Every 45 degrees breaks your pi into 4 parts. But what did we do every 30 degrees? 30, 60, 90. Every 30 degrees breaks it into what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this would be 30 degrees is pi over 6. 60 degrees, 2 pi over 6, which reduces to pi over 3. 3 pi over 6 reduces to pi over 2. 4 pi over 6 is 2 pi over 3. So you keep going. And then this would be 5 pi over 6. 6 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6. 8 pi over 6 reduces to 4/3. 9 pi over 6, 10 pi, 11 pi, 12 pi. So those are all 1/6. So let's do the 45 degrees. So 45 degrees, this was pi over 4. This was 2 pi over 4, which reduces to pi over 2. 1 pi, 1/4, 2/4. This is 3/4. 4/4 or pi. This is, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. This is 5/4. 6/4. 6 over 4 reduces to 3/2. And this is 7 pi over 4. And then 8 pi over 4 is 2 pi. 8 pi over 4 is 2 pi. Now let's do the 30 degrees. This is 1/6. I'll just do those in red. This is 1/6. 2/6. 1/6, 2/6. 2/6 reduces to pi over 3. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, which reduces to 1/2. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. 4/6 reduces to 2/3. 5/6. 6/6 reduces to pi. 7/6. 8 over 6. 8 over 6 reduces to 4/3 pi. 9 over 6. 9 over 6 reduces to 3/2. 10 over 6. 10 over 6 reduces to 5 over 3. This is going to be 11 pi over 6. And then again, 12 pi over 6 is 2 pi, or 0. That can also be 0. So now you know all your coordinates, and now you know all of your radians. So if you, where is it? If you looked back at your notes from yesterday, you can see that again right here. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, and then they reduce. That reduces, reduces. And then 30 degrees. 1/6, 2/6 reduces, 3/6 reduces, 4/6 reduces, 5/6, 6/6 reduces, 7/6, 8/6 reduces, 9/6 reduces, 10/6 reduces, 11/6, 12/6 reduces. So when you're going by 30 degrees, you're going 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 7/6, 6/6, 7/6, 8/6, 9/6, 10/6, 11/6, and 12/6. Then you're just reducing if it'll reduce. you're going by 45, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4. And then you're just reducing them if they will reduce. And then here are all your coordinates again. There are all of your coordinates again. So that was from Trig Day 1 notes. Trig Day 1 notes. So let's look. Look right here. If the x coordinate is square root of 2 over 2, we'll look at this one. This one looks a little bit better. If the x coordinate is square root of 2 over 2, so you're looking at the x coordinate, square root of 2 over 2, what degree can it be? It can be 45 degrees or 315. If the y coordinate can be the square root of 3 over 2, the y coordinate, square root of 3 over 2, so it's 60 degrees, where else is the y coordinate positive? 120 degrees. So if the y coordinate is square root of 3 over 2, it can either be 60 degrees or 120 degrees. If the x coordinate is negative square root of 2 over 2, here's a negative square root of 2 over 2, here's a negative square root of 2 over 2. So it's either 225 or 315. Wait, negative. I'm sorry. X coordinate. I was looking at y. X coordinate right here, 135 or 225. My bad. 135 or 225. X coordinate. If the y coordinate is negative 1, that's the x coordinate. If the y coordinate is negative 1, here's the y coordinate is negative 1. The only option is 270 degrees. I'm getting my x and my y. If the x coordinate is negative 1/2, if the x coordinate is negative 1/2, so let's go to the x coordinates. If it's negative 1/2, it's 120 and 240. The x coordinate is negative 1/2, 240, 120. If the y coordinate is negative square root of 3 over 2, the y coordinate, negative square root of 3 over 2, the y coordinates are negative down here. Negative square root of 3 over 2, y coordinate, it's either 240 or 300. 240 or 300. If the x coordinate is 0, you have a 0 here and a 0 up here. So it's either 90 or 270. If the cosine is 135 degrees, let's think about that. Cosine is the x value. So write that over here. Right here. You have x, y. You have cosine of theta, sine of theta. Cosine is x, sine is y. And what is tangent? Y over x. So cosine is x, sine is y, alphabetical order, x, y, cosine, sine. So if I wanted the exact value of the cosine of 135, and I didn't have a calculator, if I need the exact value, I go to 135 and look at the x coordinate. And it's going to be negative square root of 2 over 2. The tangent of 300, I'm going to go to 300. Tangent is y over x. Y over x. So it's going to be negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. We do not divide. We do not divide. We keep, change, flip. So keep this, change this to multiplication, and flip this around. Your 2's reduce away, and you get negative square root of 3. That is the tangent of 300. Negative square root of 3. Let me just show you. The tangent of 300, right there, and the negative square root of 3, same exact answer. So you can always check yourself with the calculator just to make sure you're correct. All right, the sine of 2 pi over 3. Where is 2 pi over 3? 2 pi over 3 is right here, same as 120 degrees. The sine is the y coordinate. So square root of 3 over 2. Square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of 7 pi over 6. Where is 7 pi over 6? Right here. Same as 210. Cosine of 7 pi over 6, again, is the x coordinate. Cosine is x. sine is y. So the cosine of 7 pi over 6 is the same as the cosine of 210, and it's negative square root of 3 over 2. So this equals negative square root of 3 over 2. So there's your notes. So now, here's what you're doing. Your homework